right, you can go through my entire neighborhood. I live in the development of Costa Serena. It's a 55 plus development. And you will not hear the noise of power equipment. However, if you come in front of my door, very often you will hear the noise of power equipment. Now, power equipment is used in U.S. government gang stalking. It's a harassment tactic. Yesterday, Dick Cheney died. Now, what the Bush-Cheney team did was to rewrite the FBI guidelines so that you could go after somebody with no suspicion of wrongdoing. And I believe that's when government gang stalking started. What is government gang stalking? Government gang stalking is first responders, police, firemen, ambulance drivers, security guards, along with citizen corps, who mob, unremittingly harass citizens. Now, this has a precedent, the American Protective League, and if you read about the American Protective League, it's like government gang stalking, and essentially it's what would you call it? It's like a Stasi. They pick a person, and how do they pick them? Well, somebody could make out a suspicious activity report. A fireman neighbor could do that because they want somebody out of the neighborhood, and they get you targeted. You get on a list, and people start harassing you. They use power equipment. They use noise. And what they do is they get your neighbors to gang stalk. They get people in the neighborhood to gang stalk. For instance, when I opened the camera, a person walked past my house. That's how they do it. They do it in the context of everyday, ordinary behavior. Mowing a lawn, walking past your house. So that you can't really say that this is going on because of the fact it is in the context of everyday ordinary behavior. You go out of your house, a neighbor goes out of their house. That's called same time exit entry gang stalking in this horrific Bush-Cheney program. Now, we have to expose it. And the only way to expose it is for people like you and I to expose it, because members of Congress are not going to tell you that police gang stalk, that firemen gang stalk, that security guards gang stalk. They're not going to tell you that a percentage of our population gang stalk, citizen corps. They're not going to tell you that this are American Stasi. They get in every corner of society. In other words, the person that you call to bring you food could be a gang stalker. The person who delivers your meal or a package could be a government gang stalker. When you go into a grocery store and an alarm is set off, that could be by a government gang stalker. So it's pervasive in our society. It's a percentage of our society. Now, who would do something like this? Well, I think Dick Cheney would have done something like this. He was kind of the power behind the throne in the Bush administration, and the man had no ethical compass. This is when torture was started. This is when we entered into a war on lies. So essentially, what I want to say is it's kind of early in the morning, and there's a sound of power equipment in front of my house. Now, I have my door open, so they know what I'm doing, because they even follow you. They track your movements inside your own home. That's how they do things like same-time exit entry gang stalking. I go out to pick up an Amazon package and a person passes by. I go out to put out my garbage and a person passes by. Now, as you can see, my street's pretty empty. However, there is a lot of people passing by at my entries and exits, because this is a U.S. government gang stalking tactic. So this horrific program, and it's gone on for 20 years in my case, since 2006, when a fireman neighbor tried to get me out of the neighborhood. He was a crazy guy. He was a narcissistic guy. He was an immature guy, and he didn't like us. I asked one of the firemen, because a lot of firemen came up and moved into my new development after 9/11. I asked one of them why they were what this is all about, and he said, we expected to be welcomed when we moved into this neighborhood. Now, I'm an INFJ. I'm an introvert. I'm not only an introvert, I'm a very clear introvert. And so I was working on my book, The Search for Being. It was a self-published book. I was taking care of a profoundly mentally handicapped person with no self-care skills. I was working a full-time job as an elementary school teacher. So I, didn't have time to invite neighbors over, go see neighbors, and I'm not that type. To me, a neighbor was something you say hello to and goodbye to, and you're polite. There goes the people who are making the noise. As you see, I've opened my door, and when I open my door, the things stop. But we have a problem here. It's called government gang stalking. It was started by the Bush-Cheney administration. They were never investigated. Remember Obama, we're going to turn the page. I'm going to just turn that way because I don't want to, it is not my intention to identify individual gang stalkers. It is my intention to expose the program. It is my intention to say that the weaponization of government is wrong, whether it's against Trump or it's against an ordinary citizen. Now, Trump and undergone with his weaponization of government, a pretty horrendous, expensive situation. But citizens like me, who have gone through it every single day for 20 years, have also gone through a pretty horrific experience. My life has never been normal. When I used to take a walk with my dog and my brother down the ocean, there'd be a sea of red. And that's what they do. They use something the FBI calls conspicuous surveillance. They use red cars, red trucks. They wear red. They put red things at the bottom of your car, so when you go into it, you'll see it. This is what they do to ordinary citizens. Now, I know a guy in North Carolina who has also been on YouTube, who has also been trying to expose gang stalking, and with him, they didn't use red. They used something else, because all they need is an anchor, and an anchor is something that all the gang stalkers use for their conspicuous surveillance. It's total surveillance. It's surveillance in your house. It's surveillance in the community. Like I say, you can never have a friend of a neighbor because they get your neighbors to gang stalk. They get people in the neighborhood to gang stalk. We've got, and let me say the worst of it was about a year ago, because in mid-2024, they started, I never used to believe this, but they started testing things on me. Now, I believe it is testing because if you go to my website, stopgangstalkingpolice2.com, you can see some of the testing that the U.S. used to do. In other words, when they have a new weapon, let's say plutonium, let's say it's the atomic age, and they want to know how this is going to affect people, they test it on citizens. They would give radioactive plutonium, put it in the oatmeal of children. And you can see News Nation has been very good lately doing stories about this. So if you go to News Nation, or you just look at their YouTube channel on News Nation on YouTube, you can see they're exposing how throughout our history, really, the American government has tested their new weaponry on citizens. Well, that's what they're doing now. We have a lot of new weaponry. I call it neuroweapons. And who are they going to test it on? Well, they're testing it on gang stalking targets. Now, for most of my gang stalking, I did not experience that. But I would say the last year I have experienced that. I have the Havana syndrome symptoms. I have tinnitus. I have tingling in my legs, which is also an EMF symptom of getting too much EMF, and that's what these neuroweapons give you. That's what they give off. It's kind of a side effect of them. So I believe that they're testing the weapons just as the United States has done this throughout their history. And they always have tested them on helpless people, on people who couldn't fight back. And when they target you for government gang stalking. Like on News Nation, they said they targeted a lot of black people. They targeted the very poor. They targeted mentally handicapped children. In the case of putting radioactive things in their oatmeal. Now, this is a strange sight, a man passing in front of my house, because normally that doesn't happen. Let me just take a little look at my neighborhood. Okay, this is what it normally looks like. It's empty, you know? So if you see people passing in front of my house when I enter or exit my house, it's kind of strange, because this is what my neighborhood looks like. It's empty. I live kind of on the top of a hill. We don't get many cars, many people. So it's kind of strange when somebody passes in front of my house. When I go to pick up an Amazon package, yesterday when I put out my garbage, and I put that picture on my website, stopgangstalkingpolice2.com. It's at the bottom of the website, because I've got quite a long list of things that happen in government gang stalking. So this program is, it's a PSYOPs program. It's difficult to stop, because, as I say, it happens in the context of ordinary behavior, but you don't have a percentage of your people gang stalk and people in power not knowing about it. So you can't tell me members of Congress don't know about it. They do. But they're not going to tell you that your police gang stalk, your firemen gang stalk, your security guards gang stalk, your ambulance drivers and EMS gang stalk. That would be one of the biggest scandals in American history. They're not going to expose it. Now, it used to be, like with COINTELPRO, people would break into FBI offices and they would expose COINTELPRO. But we know that this is first, they don't keep their things in FBI offices. This is digital kind of things. We have the state secret doctrine, which needs to be looked at, because the state secrets doctrine allows them to have programs like this. And if you go to News Nation and you listen to their reports on, giving plutonium to people and little children in orphanages, you will see that this kind of program goes on for 40, 50 years before it's uncovered. Well, government gang stalking in my lifetime has gone on for 20 years. I've been gang stalked for 20 years. So maybe there's another 30 years to go. Or maybe we can stop it.